Hello world, hello Australia, it's Jamie Burke here, the Crypto Koala. Now today guys, I've got the Chief Operating Officer from Novem Gold. His name's Fouad Soultana. Great to have you on today, Fouad.
Yeah, hey, thank you Jamie for having me here today.
So mate, could you tell us a bit about yourself and the Novem Gold business, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Fouad. I'm the CEO at Novem Gold. Before Novem Gold, I've been a scientist at a German research institute. So I was mainly involved into blockchain consulting, blockchain researching for the banking and logistics industry. And now at Novem Gold, we're a healthy mix of gold and blockchain experts. So the founders of the company actually are coming from the gold industry, are doing actually business in the gold industry for more than 10 to 20 years,
Wow.
buying and selling gold. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So now what we do is basically we're tapping to a new world by having a physical asset tokenized, and really looking forward to what the next year and the next years especially are bringing for us.
Yeah, it's great to hear. It sounds like, you're bringing a new product for the new generation or the new sort of users in the world, making gold more accessible to the everyday person. So could you tell us a bit about, the digital assets? So you got, your digital gold. Can you tell us about, the two different tokens there?
Yeah. So what we actually do is we're matching now a physical level. So we create an ecosystem that actually consists of three elements next to the two tokens. So it is the gold stars and the two tokens, the Novum utility token and the NNN gold backed token. So the Novum utility token can be used in our ecosystem to buy products from us, which can be jewelry, watches, or the NNN token itself at a discount. And you can use the NNN token to buy physical gold digitally. So in that case, whenever you buy NNN tokens, we store the physical gold that we back the tokens with in a security vault in the Liechtenstein for you. So you don't have to think about how to insure it, how to store it, and all that. So we take care of all these processes. And the third element are the stores, actually, where we match the digital level of blockchain with a physical level of gold trading. And we educate our current customers already about why blockchain is actually a better way to buy and sell gold.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of benefits of the blockchain, of how it makes it secure, and especially with your location being in Liechtenstein, and that's sort of known for being a quite secure country, so quite secure government. So, are you looking at, with the actual token? I just want to see, are you looking to expand the liquidity of your utility token? So you saw you've got that kind of stable coin, the NN token, but then you've got the NVM token. So with the NVM token, the utility token, are you looking at putting it out on more exchanges or?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do currently is we're growing our ecosystem. We're moving also into decentralized finance to find actually application for our tokens. And this also means that we will have to expand the liquidity, that we have to find new applications and new use cases. So the answer to your question is definitely yes.
Oh, great stuff. So it's interesting to see how the VIM has evolved and diversified in the crypto. So, as I said earlier on, the utilize of blockchain to bring gold, ownership of gold into the 21st century, providing a way of transferring ownership easily. You can like buy peer to peer. So you don't have to go and physically hand someone a big lump of gold. You own the gold. The gold's in Liechtenstein. It's verified. It's secure in the blockchain. And basically all you can do is just via the NNN token, you can just transfer ownership of that gold. So, people in this generation, they just want it quick and easy. They want it a way to just, own gold or an on-ramp to own
Yes.
gold. So it just makes gold ownership just a lot, in my eyes, a lot more convenient. So could you just try, we know in summary about the blockchain and what it does to, you know, the value it brings to the digital assets and to ownership of digital gold. So could you just tell us a bit about the blockchain technology behind the business? Like, why did you guys, like, what advantages does blockchain bring to Novem Gold and the you know, and the token in more detail?
Mm-hmm. So what I mentioned in the beginning is that the founders actually are in the gold business for many years. So they know the barriers when it comes to owning gold, and they know the barriers when it comes especially to selling gold later. So in the gold business, we have a lot of intermediaries. So what I try to when I try to explain to people why we're actually using blockchain technology, I try to explain like we do it to our customers. So we're not explaining the technical layer, but rather the advantages. That means that intermediaries, for example, now if you hold a certain amount of gold, you own a certain amount of gold, and you later want to sell it, then you have an intermediary in the traditional world that wants a profit as well. So he's going to take eventually a cut. And when you are on the blockchain, you do not have these intermediaries. You're just trading peer-to-peer. So you actually getting more for your gold. So this is one thing. Then another thing is that you're actually the owner. So when you're the token owner, you're also the gold owner in our case. So this is how we structured the whole business. When we think about ETFs, for example, you're basically the owner of the paper that is backed with gold, but you cannot redeem the gold. So in our case, you can redeem the gold anytime you want. So these are clear advantages of blockchain technology.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the blockchain that you guys chosen, the public blockchain that you guys chosen, was the Neo blockchain, which is really interesting. And the actual the tokens that you have, the NVM and the NNN tokens, are actually NEP5 tokens. So why did you choose Neo as a preferred choice, or why did the Novem team choose Neo?
That's a great question. So before we partner up with any company, we're always looking at the vision of the company. So where's this company headed towards? What do they want to achieve in the future? And what NEO actually want to do is they want to tokenize assets, and they want to be a platform for those tokenized assets. And this is actually what we do. So and another aspect is that for our developers, they do not need to learn a new language. They can code in their language that they already are coding every day. And transaction speed is also very important, because we have our stores, and when we sell tokens and when we are transacting something, we cannot tell the customers, okay, you have to wait maybe 10 minutes or a half hour. And now imagine you have 30 customers waiting in your store. That's going to be a problem. And those kind of things are very important to us, and we are thinking about all these things to make it as easy as possible for the customer. So this is why Neo was a good choice for us.
I can see how Neo's vision of digital assets with the smart economy, and how that sort of vision, aligned with Novem Gold's vision. So we're starting to see an emergence of gold-backed tokens. So, there's other crypto projects out there that are starting to bring tokens out which are backed by gold. So what makes Novem Gold an attractive choice? I know we've talked about some of them already, but just something that really stands out from the others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is a very good question, because there are a couple of gold-backed projects, as I mentioned, and those projects mainly consist of tech people. So the gold industry is a very traditional industry, and it's often like if you want to have a contract with someone, the contract is a handshake itself. So there's a lot of trust that is developed over years. So even if you're capable of developing a token, which is rather easy, it's not easy to develop the infrastructure that you need, meaning having the right storage facilities, having the refineries where you can source the gold from, or from wherever you are sourcing the gold from. So you have you have to have a very solid infrastructure to actually have a project like this, because what we are actually doing is huge. And this is what makes us stand out. We're a gold company for many years, and we have the right infrastructure, we have the right partners, and this is, in our opinion, the most critical point to have such kind of project.
Yeah, sure. It's something that stands out as well, and just being a Liechtenstein, and we were saying about the actual government, because something that I overhear, I'm not too sure if you've got this sort of law, but over in Australia, there's a thing in the 1959 Banking Act, and the Australian government basically, they made it legal to seize gold from private citizens and exchanges for, say, to back up its paper currency. So is that something that exists in Liechtenstein?
No, we actually brand ourselves as being the safest gold-backed token around there, because there is no such law in Liechtenstein. So no matter what happens, your gold is always safe. So what we did, we did two steps. So we first actually wanted to start in Germany, and then we learned about this law, and we said, okay, starting gold in Germany is no option for us. So we moved to Liechtenstein. And we took also the gold out of our balance. So no matter what happens to us as well, the gold is also always safe.
Brilliant. So something that happened just relatively recently in September this year is that you actually opened up your Novem Gold, your first bricks and mortar store. So when you're saying that, you know, what makes you stand out from the others is that you've actually got a physical store where people can go in there and potentially purchase their gold. So could you just tell us a bit about that, you know, what the actual store is? Because I think it's a lot more than going in there and just buying gold. It's actually a modern way of buying gold.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why we have stores there are actually two reasons. The first reason is stores are a great way to generate revenue. What we have is, with our ecosystem, we have the NVM token that is burned over time. So we are reducing the supply. And what we do is we're taking parts of the profits from these gold stores to burn these tokens. And we generate revenue through these stores. And what we also do is we're actually educating people about blockchain, because blockchain is still a niche. It's rather small compared to the world economy. So what is most important and most critical currently is to drive mass adoption. So people need to understand the advantages, not really the tech layer. And I feel like this industry is moving forward greatly, and they're doing great stuff, but they're always talking about technical stuff that no one actually understands. And what we actually do is we're just talking about advantages. And what we did is we opened up the first store in September in Linz, Austria. And now we're opening more stores, first in Europe and then around the world.
Yeah, I can see how, you know, the everyday person doesn't want to know how blockchain technology works. And I guess something that you touched on earlier on, and I just want to sort of briefly mention about it, is that with the distributed ledger technology, it shows transparency and it shows, you know, all the intermediaries. So it cuts out the middlemen and it makes it very easy to view that. But, you know, people don't want to know about how it works. They just want to know, how can I buy gold? And I guess over time, and when you mention about, you know, we are still very young in the blockchain space, and people just don't really want to know about blockchain. Like, it's all about the front end. It's all about attracting the everyday person, about the adoption. So, you know, we take a look at the global macro trends affecting the price of gold. And, you know, you look at countries like Russia and China, and they're currently building up their reserves of gold, and they're actually diversifying away from the US dollar as a global reserve currency. So it'd be interesting to see how much that increases over the years.
Oh yeah. So I've been actually in Russia and China a couple of weeks ago, and I could clearly see that the interest in gold is increasing more and more. If you actually just follow current political events like the China-US trade war or the tensions between Russia and the US, they're getting more and more independent by investing more and more into gold. So there's a trend I think that everyone can currently see, that we're moving away from the US dollar, and that many countries are moving towards gold and diversifying their portfolio more into gold.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they kind of want to be away from in their central banks. They want to get away from having the US dollar as a sort of their reserve currency. So, you know, and we even look at the Latin American countries, and they seem to be shoring up their gold reserves. And, you know, we even look at, and this is like the sort of the opposite of the last few years, is that Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, you know, he's been actually selling his gold reserves to bypass US sanctions. So, and we know what's that, you know, that's been one of the major things that there's no asset, there's no hard physical asset behind the money now, because, you know, his reserves of gold are just getting depleted because he keeps selling them off. So you can see the sort of the link between gold and how important it is to sometimes back a currency. Because I guess when this hyperinflation has gone rife, when you've got gold in your reserves, they can sort of make your money have some value. But, you know, President Mondero has been practically selling off the gold. So, you know, the money is basically is just not even worth the money, the paper it's printed on. And I think that's why we see an increase in them countries where, you know, crypto and Bitcoin has become the sort of this one of the sound currencies. And I could see potentially a gold-backed token, you know, where it becomes like a stable coin. It's something that they need, and it's, you know, it's actually solved a big problem of hyperinflation, and that can mean like life or death, where, you know, they need to have a sound, solid currency so they can go and buy a loaf of bread and some milk, you know, just to survive.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Venezuela is actually the most prominent example in South America. If we look at the other countries in South America, they also tend to have the same problems. Not as much as Venezuela, but those problems still exist. What you mentioned is that gold gives you this independency. So even if you have sanctions from a certain government, you have still a kind of liquidity through gold. So what you have to solve in that case is how you can make it tradable, because gold as an asset, as a physical asset, is heavy and is hard to exchange from country to country. Or yeah, and blockchain is definitely an easier way to exchange ownership. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no one wants to have, you know, bars of gold sitting in the back of that, um, in their vault in the back garden, or, you know, they just sort of, they want someone else to look after it, and then you can just sort of have it easily on your phone, on a wallet, easy sort of accessible value there for the tokens. So in the past decade, since the GFC, global debt has risen to $244 trillion. So it seems to have increased, not decreased, since the GFC, and it's just becoming the norm for central banks to just inject trillions of dollars into the banks just to keep them healthy and vibrant. So it seems like it's becoming like just normal, and it's becoming the numb, people becoming numb to it, but it's actually a really big problem. And like the debt is the global debt is just getting more and more and more. And I think this is a major thing that could contribute to gold, because ultimately, the mass majority of the world is not on the gold standard. So if there was a currency crisis, that they need to have sound money, or a sound value asset. So over here in Australia, the Royal Bank of Australia is considering turning on the money printers again, and this is only recently they really started announcing this, because they're starting to see that lowering interest rates are just they're not working. That they nearly run out of the option. They've got a couple left, but I think this is something that with Germany and other countries around the world, that the lowering of interest rates are kind of they're running out of the option now. So it seems like we're just turning on the money printers again, and we just start churning out some cash. But that's not good though, because I guess ultimately long term that's just going to start causing hyperinflation.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, when you look at the current economy, the global economy, it is absolutely not healthy. So, like you said, they're just turning on the printing machines and trying to flush the market with more money. But actually, this is not solving the problem. I don't know the situation is in Australia currently, but here in Europe, we have the issue with negative interest right now. So they try to push the people towards pushing more money into the economy and not leaving the money on the bank account. And this is also a reason why actually people are moving more towards gold. So this is actually our experience currently.
It's actually
And
sorry.
yeah,
It's sorry to interrupt you, but it's we've got these laws in Australia, and they're practical bail-in laws. Instead of bail out, they're bail-in laws, and this is where the banks basically they can bail in their customers. So if the banks had negative interest rates, and you could basically your money can get stuck into that account and you can't withdraw it, and they can use your money. So you end up paying locked into a bank account, and when there's your interest is negative, and you can't go anywhere.
yeah, it is a big issue. So here currently you pay double. You pay for the bank account and then you pay negative interest rate. And this all are signs that the way our economy currently works, it is not going to work like that for the next years. So there's gonna be a major change, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, definitely, and I think that's what was an increasing factor that makes gold more attractive, really, and because something that's a lot more a sound sort of asset. So, what's the Novem Gold's team over the next 24 months?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grow our ecosystem. We're partnering up with a lot of companies, moving into DeFi as well to find new
Oh,
applications
wow.
for our tokens. So this is kind of what we do. We have a couple secret projects that we will talk about maybe in the third quarter of the coming year. So kind of bigger projects. This is basically what we do. Because if you see the current economy, what we've been talking about, and the opportunity that tradable gold actually gives us, you start to understand how huge this project actually is. And it is not just a simple project where you offer maybe a solution or some kind of a service, but it is it is something bigger than that.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's something that's relatively new as well. You know, it's um, a new way of owning gold, and it's pretty exciting. But
Absolutely.
the potential of it, and it's one of, in my eyes, it's one of the best use cases of blockchain. Really, it really is.
If you think about it, you can have for institutional players 1,000 kilos, and you can move 1,000 kilos, for example,
Yeah.
within 15 seconds instead of shipping it a month from one country to another and working on paperwork and having a lot of costs like insurance and customs and all that. And now you have blockchain and trade whatever amount you want, smallest or big, large amounts in seconds. Yeah, it's an amazing time to be in currently.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So, well, guys, what I'll do, if you want to check out Novem Gold for yourselves, I'll put the links down below. Just a quick disclaimer, not a financial advisor, do your own research. I just providing a platform for which you probably to share on. So, Fouad, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate.
Thank you, Jamie. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, see you later, mate. Bye.
See you. Bye
Bye.
bye.